This video is proof that muscles do not guarantee safety, dominance, or survival once fists start flying. Boxing and combat sports have a cruel way of stripping away illusions, and nothing gets exposed faster than a body built for mirrors instead of impact. Time after time, men walked into the ring carved out of discipline, protein shakes, and gym lighting, convinced their physiques alone would command respect. And time after time, they learned the same unforgiving lesson. When raw mass, timing, and bad intentions collide with vanity muscles, the result is often short, violent, and humiliating. It started with a shock that rattled expectations immediately. Jared Anderson came in undefeated, confident, and looking like the future had already rolled out a red carpet for him. He moved like an athlete, carried himself like a prospect, and had every visual marker fans associate with dominance. Across from him stood Martin Belell, a man shaped less like a superhero and more like industrial equipment. No flash, no glamour, just density and menace. From the opening moments, Belell's punches landed with the kind of force that doesn't look fast until it's already too late. One heavy shot dropped Anderson and instantly flipped the script. The undefeated record disappeared in real time, and the tone of the fight changed from development showcase to survival drill. Belell sensed it immediately. He stopped warming up and started finishing. The uppercut that followed wasn't just a punch, it was an eviction notice, lifting Anderson off his base and erasing the illusion of safety that muscles had promised him. In seconds, Belell claimed the biggest win of his career and reminded everyone watching that boxing punishes assumptions without mercy. That same theme echoed again when Tariq Kebab stepped in against Alan Gallani. Gallani looked like he had been engineered in a laboratory dedicated exclusively to protein synthesis. Kebab's, on the other hand, looked like effort had never been filtered through aesthetics. From the opening seconds, Kebab shoved Gallani backward and started swinging with reckless determination. The muscle-bound fighter tried to posture, tried to stand tall, but soon his hands dropped and his breathing betrayed him. Kebab's kept throwing as if oxygen were optional, parking himself on his opponent and breaking him down until the referee stepped in to save Gallani from further damage. The finish felt inevitable. Muscles tightened, gas tanks emptied, and brute persistence won the night. The pattern kept repeating in different forms. Vincenzo Ancelone entered one bout built like he had been assembled from leftover gym equipment, towering over his opponent. Yet inside the ring, that size translated into stiffness, not control. His smaller opponent tried to stay mobile, but soon found himself shoved around like furniture during a chaotic house move. Even when clean shots landed, exhaustion followed instantly. Mass without endurance became a liability, not a weapon. Then came fights that bordered on the absurd. Salt Papi arrived overweight, out of shape, and visibly unconcerned with the expectations placed on him. Early on, he wobbled, looked rattled, and flirted with disaster. But quitting was never part of his vocabulary. Out of nowhere, he uncorked a punch so heavy and perfectly timed it reset the entire fight. Knowledge of distance, not definition, decided the outcome. One full-force shot ended the exchange and flipped the narrative instantly. Ismail Lazar took things further, embodying the idea that intimidation doesn't need polish. Built like a moving tank, Lazar bullied opponents around the ring, tossing them aside when resistance bored him. Against fighters who looked sculpted and intimidating on paper, Lazar's physical dominance turned fights into exercises in futility. When he faced Daniel Sam, the story repeated itself. Lazar came forward relentlessly, while Sam's gas tank evaporated at an alarming rate. One moment Sam looked like a monster. The next, he looked like someone who had underestimated what constant pressure really costs. Lazar didn't box so much as overwhelm, and once momentum turned, there was no reversing it. Some fights felt less like sport and more like street justice disguised as competition. In one bout, a heavily muscled fighter tried to outmaneuver an overweight opponent, relying on speed and movement. But the larger man stalked impatiently, cutting off the ring and waiting for one opening. When it came, a single right hand shut the lights off instantly. Muscles didn't absorb the blow. They didn't soften the impact. They simply failed. Few examples illustrated the theme more brutally than when bodybuilders met true heavy hitters. When Luis Monaco entered the ring looking like a walking trophy, posing confidently and working his jab, he seemed convinced aesthetics would translate to control. Across from him stood Butterbean, the embodiment of everything fitness culture refuses to celebrate. Seconds later, Monaco was face down on the canvas. his perfect physique rendered meaningless by raw punching power and timing. The legend of Mark Hunt took that lesson even further. Hunt looked like the walking contradiction of combat sports. A pot-bellied powerhouse with fists wired for destruction, he spent his career dismantling men who looked like action figures. When he faced a sculpted athlete like Sonny Bill Williams, the early rounds suggested caution. But once Hunt woke up, the tone shifted violently. He marched forward, cornered his opponent, and delivered a punch so disrespectful it ended the fight immediately. Age didn't save Williams. Conditioning didn't save him. One clean shot did what muscles never could. Then came one of the most famous reminders of all. Anthony Joshua, built like the prototype of a heavyweight champion, laughed off Andy Ruiz as an easy defense. Ruiz arrived looking soft, unassuming, and underestimated. What followed shocked the sport. Ruiz fired hooks with frightening accuracy and relentless intent, knocking Joshua down repeatedly and capturing the heavyweight title. The visual contrast alone rewired how fans viewed physique versus performance. Ruiz proved that timing, balance, and heart outweigh symmetry every time. Again and again, the story repeated across promotions and styles. Muscle giants ran into dense, heavy-handed fighters who didn't care about aesthetics. Some quit. Some collapsed. Some learned the truth the hard way. A belly doesn't mean weakness. A six-pack doesn't mean durability. Underneath mass and softness can live power that changes lives in seconds. By the end, the message was unmistakable. Combat sports do not reward vanity. They reward effectiveness. Muscles may look intimidating under bright lights, but they don't absorb punches, they don't protect chins, and they don't replace instincts forged through real damage. These fights exist as permanent reminders that safety is an illusion once the bell rings. If you enjoyed this breakdown of how reality keeps humbling gym-built myths, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next deep dive into combat sports truth. And let us know in the comments which fight shocked you the most, because the debate between looks and violence is far from over.